Squid Game is a good show. Okay, it's a great show, and because of that, it has basically taken over the entirety of the internet. So I find it hard to believe that you don't know it to some extent, but if you don't, if somehow Kang Se-byuk has not crossed your timeline, Junghoyeon is living a miserable life, but he hears about a secret survival game with a 45.6 billion won prize for the winner. He decides to take part in the game, and when he gets there, they realize that it is life or death. Spoilers ahead, obviously. I feel like at this point everyone has given their thoughts about the show, but I don't believe in rushing one's thoughts, so after watching it and spending a lot of my time thinking of these characters, I am proud to say that I have fully recovered from the loss of Ali, Se-byuk, and Ji-young. That's a lie, but I have loads to say, and it begins with our sole survivor and main protagonist, Gi-hun. It's established pretty early that he's not the best of people. I mean, he steals from his mom, who's working to pay off his debts. That's like next level bad in my opinion. Not even from a stranger, from the street. Look at this face. It's what disappointment looks like, and that's how I felt when I realized, oh no, we're telling the story through him. We have a North Korean defector, an immigrant being exploited, and an apparent genius who's being pursued by the police. Like seriously, what did he do? And Gi-hun is who they want us to focus on. But if anything, him being who the story was mainly told through makes the story more brilliant. As I said, it's established pretty early that he's not the greatest of people, but that's the case for every single person who participates in the game. Each person knows that the more people die, the more money they have in their pockets by the end of the game. The only thing we know about all of them is that they've incurred a debt so big that they're willing to get slapped in a train station for a few million won. It is Gongyu, so they may be onto something. The minute death has been discovered to be an indefinite part of the game, it is the turning point of the show. This sets apart the bad people, and I say this with quotation marks, from the good people. And Gi-hun is one of the latter. He doesn't believe that possible death is worth all the money that they may win initially, but after realizing just how futile things seem on the outside, he returns with a new mindset. Everyone does, or at least a good amount of them, because they left deciding that nah, we can't die for this, we can't, and then it was just like, damn, we actually can. Look at how our life is outside of this place. I need that money. Gi-hun is constantly shown as the good guy. He encourages team efforts, cares about the girls that's been bullied, feels bad about the deaths of others, but does that make him any good? In the last few episodes, he's really tested in terms of morality. He plays a hand in the one person he's been the most close to his death, and the one person he hoped and thought he could trust, Sang-woo, as his opponent. To go more deeply into it, when I initially watched the show, the people who I thought definitely would make it to the end was Sang-woo, Se-byuk, and maybe that evil guy whose name I can't quite remember right now. But that was me being less optimistic, because initially I wanted the crew to all make it out and survive, but Squid Games is not Disney, so obviously that didn't happen, and I had to take the losses that were there. I had to shed some tears for the people that were lost along the way. Sang-woo seemed like the most likely person to make it to the end. He was calculative, smart, and he had an end goal to this all. He did not mind the deaths of others because he knew that in some way they would already be dead, and so that's why him being evil is a bit hard to believe, because he was operating from a logical point of view where if they didn't die, they were going to die eventually. Sang-woo and Gi-hun are so similar and yet different in the ways that it matters. They were both raised in the same neighborhood by loving mothers who worked in the same market. But while Sang-woo was probably showered in praise as he grew for his intelligence, Gi-hun was not. Sang-woo is outwardly seen as the better of the two, smart, charming, but that's all a facade, while Gi-hun, who is undoubtedly imperfect and an open book, is not. Despite all the different roads they took, they'd both been led to the same path, the Squid Games, which I think is a great indicator at how the working class struggled to make it, but also knowing how it was always going to be Sang-woo across from whoever won. Gi-hun just made the most sense, because a few different paths and the person he's looking at may have been him. The show explores morality, the effect money has on our society, and social class, but what I think it does best is explore the characters. The plot is a driving point for why it's loved. It's definitely unique, the mix of innocent childhood games with death, but at times the narrative was predictable, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. Better to be predictable than make absolutely no sense, and having interesting characters that the audience actually was rooting for helped. That's an art in my opinion. So many shows struggle to make their audience feel anything for some characters after 4 seasons, and after only 9, this ragtag group has won over my complete heart. Which leads to the main problem I had with Squid Game, even if problem seems too big a word for it, because I will simply wipe it from my memory like I did the How I Met Your Mother ending. The end was good to some extent. Gi-hun did take awfully long to fulfill his promise, but my real problem was with the thoughts of possible season 2. It had all the makings to be a 1-season phenomena that, despite how many remakes Netflix pushed out, the excitement that surrounded the original would not be able to be replicated. It just made no sense to me. The emotional toll the games took on Gi-hun was clear. By making a 2nd season, they missed out on the chance to do what most shows struggle with, ending on a good note. To some degree, I am excited about season 2, but there's just more wariness than excitement on my side, because I don't know whether they'll be able to capture what they had in the 1st season or even make it better, but either way, I'll be watching it because of peer pressure, so yeah.